All right. So till yesterday, we have started designing your framework, implementation is done, and also we have seen execution phase, right? So the next phase is a maintenance phase. So the third phase of framework is a maintenance phase. So yesterday we have seen how many ways we can run our test cases, right? Through form.xml within Eclipse and through command prompt using commands and using run.bat file and using Jenkins, and within the Jenkins itself we have run in two different ways by taking a freestyle project and also have taken like free Maven project, right? So in this particular approach, yesterday I have discussed about one problem here. The problem here is we have a DevOps team and we have a development team and we have a QA team, right? So in the QA teams, there are multiple people are working here. These are the main challenges in teams basically. So there are multiple people are working on multiple things, right? Multiple test cases. So if you have the Jenkins in their local systems, right? So the project as well as Jenkins, both are there in the same system. So it is easy to configure local paths and we can execute. So the same thing we followed yesterday, and everyone will do that same thing. But in the real time, it will not happen like this because there are multiple people working on multiple things. So they have partially working some different things. Like suppose I have 100 test cases. Some test cases will be done by some guy, or other test cases will be done by some other people. So it will be shared, right? Distributed across the team. So this is basically a teamwork. So at the end of the day, all the team members, they have to check in their code in the common repository. Okay, common repository will be there, and they will check in all their code in the common repository. So Jenkins will be installed in the DevOps team. So Jenkins will pick up the code from that particular repository. Then only it will get complete code, which is implemented by all the team. So here in the Jenkins, we don't configure anything in the local paths. So yesterday we have specified the form.xml location, run.bat file location, right? So in those places, we have to provide the URL of repositories. So from this repository, the Jenkins will take care. But where this repository will be available? So this is also a common shared server. This repository is again a web-based application. So here, this is again a common shared location, and we can access this using URL of application, right? So this particular URL will be configured in the Jenkins instead of configuring the local paths. So even form.xml or run.byte, whatever. So we have to just configure the path of URL, not the exact location. So this will solve all the problems. So the two problems here, one is Jenkins will be there in the remote machine, project is there in your local system. So we cannot configure the local paths in our Jenkins. That's the first problem. The second problem is there are multiple people are working on multiple things. So it is very difficult to collaborate all the stuff in one part. So Git, this is a repository which will manage all the integrated code here, and from there the DevOps and Jenkins will get the code. So this is these two problems will be solved by this repository. Then we need to discuss what is this repository. So and everybody will check in their code in the repository. Okay. So these repositories there are two types of repositories. So today I'm talking about Git and GitHub. Git and GitHub. So these are all two repositories, Git repository and GitHub repository. Both are repositories. But what is the difference between Git and GitHub repository? So people will think both are same, but both are not the same. So Git is different software, GitHub is a different software. So Git is basically a local repository. Git is a local repository, and everybody should install this Git software in their local systems. Okay, everybody should install this Git software in their local systems, and this is called local repository. Everybody in the team, they have to maintain their own local repository along with the workspace location. So if you are currently working on something on the Eclipse, right? So you will have some workspace location. So currently this is our project. So in this particular project, this is the workspace location. But along with this workspace location, you will do all the stuff in the workspace location itself. So we need to have a local repository first. Okay, so as soon as I have done something here in your project, you need to make sure those changes should be part of your local repository first, and then we need to send them to remote repository. So here Git is a local repository and GitHub is a remote repository. Remote repository. Okay, so how these things will work is, let me just share a small presentation. Git and GitHub. So normally, so number of people, let's say working copy, there are multiple people are working on multiple workstations. Let's say the multiple PCs. So everybody will do some activity, right? Everybody will automate the test cases. But at the end of the day, the complete code should be integrated in common repository, right? So here, Git is a local repository. So everybody should install Git software in their local systems. And you have to make sure all the changes, whatever changes you have done in the workspace location, should be part of Git repository. And from there, if everything is fine, then we have to push that code into GitHub repository. GitHub is a remote repository. GitHub is a remote repository. So from this GitHub repository, our Jenkins will take the code and execute it in DevOps environment. Okay, so this is basically remote repository, and Git is a local repository. Both are different softwares. And Git is a window-based application. So we can just download this, and it will be like installer exe file, and then we have to install this Git software. Whereas GitHub is a URL. So GitHub is available as a URL. So let me just show you. It is just like a Facebook and a LinkedIn account, but this in this particular website, we will share only the technical stuff, all the coding repository. We can say coding repository, but this is available publicly, and there are two accounts can be created in this. So one is free available, and other one is a public. There are two kinds: free license and public license, right? So public license can be used. So we can use this repository. You can keep all our code inside this. And if you want to share your code with somebody else, you can also share your code. Okay, so that is possible. Just you can share that URL accordingly. You can suppose simply like a Google Drive. So I'm putting all the files in the Google Drive, right? So I'm just giving URL to you guys. You are able to access all the files using that URL, and you are able to download them. Same way, if you put all your code and complete project in your GitHub repository, just you have to share that URL, GitHub repository URL, to anybody else. They can also access your code, and they can also download your code. Okay, that's how the GitHub repository works. So this is the official website of GitHub repository. So there are two kinds of license you have, but companies will purchase this license because the code is very, very sensitive. So they don't expose outside of the world, so outside of the company, so they will maintain the licensed versions. So, okay, so they will purchase some licenses from the GitHub, so they will keep maintained very secretly. But the public license we can use freely, and we can have our code, and that code can be shared across multiple people. So that's a facility we will get from the GitHub repository. This is completely remote repository. Okay, this is the context. Now, everybody in the team, right? Everybody, suppose, so this guy is automating one test case, this guy is another test case, this guy is another test case. Everybody is having their own local repository in their local laptops. So this is basically Git software. So Git is also just like a location where you have to keep all the code, just like a workspace. So normally we will have a workspace, right, in the Eclipse workspace. So as soon as I have completed some tasks, first we need to send that into Git repository, and from there we can send to the GitHub repository. Okay, so each individual person they will send their code from their workspace to Git repositories, and at the end of the day, everyone will push their code to GitHub repository. So all this code will be part of your GitHub repository, and no one will do the same thing. Okay, each individual will do the different thing, right? So duplication will not be happening. So this is how it will work. So Git is a local repository, GitHub is a remote repository. So at the end of the day, whatever you have done changes locally, you have to make sure those changes will be part of your Git repository. From there, you have to push that into GitHub repository. So from here, Jenkins will take the code using URL, your project URL, and then Jenkins will execute your code or automation. Okay, so the complete project will be there in the GitHub repository. And suppose if you added new test cases in local system tomorrow, and we have to again add those test cases in Git repository, again push them into GitHub repository. So this is everyday activity. As soon as you have completed something, you have to make sure that particular code should be part of your Git repository and then push that into GitHub repository. Everybody will also do the same thing. But at the end of the day, they will do certain time will be scheduled, and based on the time, our Jenkins will automatically get the latest code every day from the GitHub repository and execute that particular code on the new build. Okay, so parallelly, our DevOps team will also integrate the code from the developers and integrate and create the build. So whenever they created the build, immediately get the code from the GitHub software and execute that using Jenkins software. So this is how it will happen. Now we'll see how to do all these things, from the workspace to how we can send to Git repository, and from there how to send to GitHub repository, how we can install, how we can configure. So all these things we'll see step by step. Okay. Now, so as a first step, so we'll see prerequisites. What are the prerequisites we need to have to work with the Git and GitHub? Prerequisites are, the first and most important thing is you should have an account on GitHub repository. So this is a GitHub repository. You should have some account. So this is just like a Facebook and a LinkedIn account. You have to do sign up process. Just click on the sign up. It will ask you just first name, last name, your email ID, password, and so on. So once you enter all the details, once you have submitted your data, you will get an email. So activate or not. So it is sending some email to you, and with the activation link, just you need to click on that link and your account will be activated. So once your account is activated, then onwards you can log in into this particular GitHub software or GitHub application. This is free. Okay, so nothing is charged. This is completely free. All right, so now GitHub is a central repository, or we can say remote repository, where we can store all our code. And if you want to share our code to others, we can also share that entire code by using a small URL. Okay, so the first step, we need to have account in GitHub repository. So we need to create an account in GitHub repository. That's the first thing. Let me write the step here. So create a new account in the GitHub. So through sign up process, you have to create an account. So I already have my account, so I'm going to use that account for now. But you guys should create your own account. Okay. All right. So now, so once you have this account to the GitHub repository, the second step is you have to, so once you create this account in the step 1 itself, you have to create a new remote repository. Create a new repository means it's a kind of a folder. It's a space. Okay. So once we have a space, later we can add all our project to that particular space. We can store that. So first of all, we need to create a new repository, in GitHub. So first of all, we have to create a new account in GitHub application, and then we have to create a new repository in GitHub with our project name. Now I'm going to do that. So let's go to GitHub software, and I'm going to log into this particular site, sign in here, and my username and password I have entered. Click on the sign in. Okay, now I have entered. So once I have entered into this, so there are multiple repositories I already created earlier. So now I'm going to create a new repository. So how to create a new repository? So if you go here, you can see one option called a new repository, or you can also use this particular green button. So new repository. First time you don't see all these things. Okay, everything is empty. First time you don't see anything. Just you will see the new option here, or you can create the new repository by using this option, or you can also create and use this option. Anything is fine. So let me just click on this button. Now I'm creating a new remote repository. Okay, so I have just click on this. So once you click on this, now this is our account, and here it will ask you the repository name. And normally the repository name will be our project name. So our project name is NOP commerce _ V001. So I'm same thing I'm giving NOP commerce _ 001. Version number 001. So this is a repository name. If you already have a repository with this name, it will not allow you. So you have to give a different name. So once you provided your repository name here, All right. Then it will show you two options, public and private. So we can always go for public. So private means we need to pay something to the GitHub repository. So normally the companies will purchase this account and they will make our code very secretly. Okay, they don't share it with anyone. But the public account is very free, and we can have our projects in this particular GitHub repository, and we can also share with anybody else. And everybody, if they have the URL, they can easily see our code, and they can also download our code. So that's a public access. So select this, and then this is just, it will create the README file. If I select this, or else not required, let it be. Then create repository. So our repository name is this one. Okay. Now create repository. So once it is created a repository, now it is a new repository which is created. All right. Now this is very, very important thing. This is called your repository URL. Let me copy this here. This URL is very, very important. We are going to use this URL in multiple places. So this is called GitHub URL. GitHub URL. So this URL is very, very important. And tomorrow, if you have uploaded everything in the GitHub repository, and if you want to share your code with somebody else, you have to share this particular URL. You have to share this particular link. Even if I share this link with you guys, you can also access my project. You can also download from GitHub repository. So this is URL is very, very important. And if you want to access and download my code, you don't require any login. Okay, so that's the reason. So this is the URL we have to first create in GitHub repository. So this is the prerequisite. Okay. So once we have done this, now next step, we have to install Git software in your local system, because as I said, Git is your local repository, GitHub is a remote repository. So currently we have done the setup in remote repository or global repository. That is your GitHub repository. Now come back to your local repository. So now here we need to download and install Git repository. Git repository. This is your local repository, and this is your remote repository. Okay. So how to install our Git repository locally? So here we need to just go and download the software, and here just type download Git. Download Git. So it will be it will show the official website of Git. This is basically a website of Git software, official website. From this we have to download, and Git is available in 2 different operating systems, and Mac, Windows, and Linux. So currently we are working on Windows, so that we have to we need to click on the Windows. So once you click on the Windows, it will go and show you 32-bit and 64 bits, but it will automatically by default download it 64-bit. Okay. So once you have this exe file, I already have it, I'm just discarding this. So this is a direct link. Okay, so let me just give you the direct link. You guys can download the software, and this is a direct link, or I can also share short link. So you can just go to the here. We don't require any sign up or sign in. You can just directly download this. Okay, once you open this particular link, you will see this particular software, this particular one, and you can click on 64-bit Git for Windows setup. So it will just directly download exe file. Okay. So once we have downloaded this exe file, we have to start installation. So this is very, very larger installation, almost 15 screens we have. So I already copied those screens. I will just show you each and every screen, how we have to download and install. So once you have downloaded the exe file, you have to run the exe file, and you will see these screens. The first screen will be run button. Okay, this is the first step. Then second step will be, it will show you the default location where the Git will be installed. Click on the next. Now the third step, it will again show the location, and click on the next, and select these options, Git Bash and Git GUI. So both the versions are available. So Bash is nothing but a command line, and GUI means it will be a UI. So select these things, and rest of the option, whatever I have selected here, and rest of them are default options, and click on the next. So once we click on the next, it will show you this particular screen. So it will add some alias, that is a Git, and don't need to change anything here. Just click on the next, and in the next screen, it will show you use the nano editor by default. So multiple options it will be showing. So select the first option and click on the next. Now here again 3 more options will be shown. Adjusting your path environment, use git from git bash only. So select the first option and click on the next, and you will see this particular screen, and here you will see 2 points here, 2 options. Use OpenSSH, use peeling, tortoise peeling. So select the first one and it will by default give you this location, and again click on the next, and again it will show you 2 radio buttons here. Use OpenSSL library, select it, click on the next, and again 3 more radio buttons. Step number 10, check out Windows style, commit Unix style line index, select this option and click on the next. Now in the next screen, use mini putty, so select the first option, click on the next, and in the 12th screen select these 2 checkboxes and again click on the install. So now install will start. So till now whatever we have specified, everything is a configuration. So whatever things we are going to install, we have specified in all the screens till 12th screen. Okay, now we need to click on this install button. So once we click on the install button, it will start installing Git software, and it will take some time here. Once we have successfully installed, you will get this particular end screen completing the Git setup wizard. And once it is completed, just click on this finish. Okay, and if you select this launch git bash, you will able to see this command prompt. As soon as you click on the finish, you will see one command prompt like this. So that means your Git is successfully installed. Okay, and one more verification you can do is just go and open any folder in C drive or E drive, wherever you want. Just right click here. You will see 2 new options in the pop-up window. Git GUI here, Git bash here. So these are the 2 new options you can see here. And wherever you go, even in C drive also, if you right click here, you can see these 2 options. So everywhere, if you just right click on the window, you will see these 2 options. So that means Git is already installed in your system. So these are the steps you have to follow. So download the Git software and follow the instructions, and finally install it. At the end, you will see this particular screen, and this particular window how you will get. So for example, let me just go to C drive. I want to open my Git window, command window, right click Git bash here. So we don't use GUI most of the times, we use only bat. We have few number of commands, we have to execute those commands. Now click on Git bash here. So then it will open one command window like this. So here we need to write all the Git related commands for sending the code, pushing, committing, updating, all the stuff we have to execute from here. There are certain commands are available, so we are going to discuss today itself. Alright, so this is called Git installation. So Git is your local repository, GitHub is a remote repository. Now step 2, we have to download and install Git repository, and this is the download link. So once we have downloaded, then install your Git software. These are our prerequisites. So we are ready with the remote repository, and also we are ready with your local repository. All right. So now we have to send our code. So once our project is completed, we have to send our code first to local repository. From there, we have to send to your remote repository. Okay. So let us see how we can send this. So before that, let us understand the flow. Very, very important. So if you know this only, you can do that. So let me just draw some picture here. Okay, so now, so focus on only our workspace, local repository, and then remote repository. Okay, just focus on only 3 items. So this is our remote, or we can say this is our GitHub repository. Okay, so this is our, all right, so this is our GitHub repository. Let me just change the color. This is our GitHub repository. Okay, here this is the final code will be there here. And next one, this is our Git repository. So this is our local repository, and the user is currently working here. Let us say this is your workspace. This is your workspace, Eclipse workspace. So we already always working on only workspace, right? Here our code is currently there. So Git is our local repo. These 2 present in the single system. Okay, our local system. This is our local machine or local system, right? Now let us see step by step how we can do all these things. Very important. So first of all, we'll see one communication. and then second thing we'll see two-way communication. So first of all, I have my complete code on this particular workspace location, the complete project. So whatever project we have so far completed is there in the workspace location. So we cannot directly send our code to GitHub repository. It will go through certain stages. Okay. So first of all, our code should be part of your Git repository, our local repository. From there, we have to send to the GitHub repository. Okay. Similarly, suppose in the GitHub repository there is some code. I want to get those changes. Then we have to get that into Git repository. From there, we can get into our workspace. This is the communication. And everybody will do the same thing. Suppose there is another person, another guy, and he's also doing the automation. Okay, he's having his own local repository, and he's also having one Git repository. He will send all the code into Git repository. From there, he will send to the Git repository. So everybody will do the same thing. So GitHub is a central point of contact. Okay. So sometimes he do some kind of changes. He doesn't have those changes. This guy doesn't have those changes. You want to get it from the GitHub repository. So all the way we should able to communicate. Okay. Now let us see step by step. So first step, I have my complete project on workspace location. So assume that I have completed few number of test cases. Now I want to make them available in the GitHub repository. So as a first step, we need to send them to Git repository. But we cannot even directly send to the GitHub repository. First of all, we need to send them to the staging area. So this is called as a staging area. So first we need to send to the staging. So from the workspace, we cannot directly send to the Git repository. First, whatever changes we have done in the workspace and in your Eclipse, we have to make them and add them to your staging area. That's the first thing. So once the files are available in the staging area, from there we can send to Git repository. Once the files are there in the Git repository, from there we can send to GitHub repository. And in each and every stage, we will use certain number of commands. So the first command will be status. Very, very important. Status command. First time we will execute status command. What is the status command? Says what are all files are ready to send to the staging area. Okay, so suppose if I add a new file, or if I modified the existing file, or I remove the old file. So these are called changes. So apart from these three, we don't do anything else, right? Maybe you will add a new file, or you have modified the existing file, or remove the old file. So these are only things you will do in the workspace location. So when I execute your status command in the command prompt, it will show you what are all changes we have done. And those should be part of your Git repository. That will be shown by using the status command. Every time you have to, before send them to the staging and Git repository, we have to check the status every time. So the status will show you what are all files are ready to send to staging area and Git repository. So first execute the status command. Next command is, so once the status we shown what are all files are ready to send to staging and Git repository, then we have to add all the files to staging area. So here we use a command called add command, add. So this command, so this is the first command is status. Okay, status will show you all the files, what are all files ready to commit. And once you know the status, then we have to use add command, and then from workspace to staging, we have to use add command here. So let me just use another color. So here we have to use add command. This is the first command. Before the status will be common. And once you add executed, what are all files are ready to commit will be part of staging area. Now from this, we have to send to Git repository. And here we use another command called commit command. That's the next command. Okay, first command is status, next add, then commit. So once we executed this commit command, all our files from the staging server to send to Git repository. But we cannot see any files from staging or Git repository. Just through command, we will know what are all files are part of Git repository, what are all files are not part of Git repository, and what are all files are already added to the staging, what are all files which are not added to the staging. So those things we can see only through commands, but physically we cannot see any files. Okay, so commit is a command here. Now two commands. One is first stage add command, which will add all our workspace files to staging area. Once they are part of your staging area, then again execute another command called commit command. It will send all your code to Git repository. That is still in your local repository. And once your code is completed and ready in the Git repository, here we execute one more command called push command. Push is a one more command. And this particular command will send all your code to GitHub repository. And along with this push command, we also specify the URL of your remote repository. URL of remote repository along with the username and password. So these details we have to pass. Otherwise, this command doesn't know from where we have to push the code, right? So along with this push command, we have to specify the remote repository URL, which you already created first step, right? So that URL we have to pass along with your username and password. And then your code will be part of your GitHub repository. So these are the steps. These are the steps. Now we'll move our project completely to the remote repository and we'll see that step by step. So here I'm going to write certain number of commands. We'll do step by step. Okay, so first we'll move multiple rounds. Okay, first round we'll move all the files. After that I will also make some changes, and second round also I will move the files. And again, suppose there are some extra files are then GitHub repositories and which are sent by some other people, I can also get those changes in the Git repository and your workspace. Okay, I will show you all the ways, all the directions. And first of all, let us see the first round. So currently my project is there in our workspace location, right? So where is our workspace location? Go to properties and resources, and here it will show you the location, and copy this location. All right, so this is your workspace location. This is your workspace location, right? So remember this. So let's go and open that location first of all. We don't require any Eclipse here. Until unless you do some modifications, we don't require any Eclipse. So just go to your project. This is your workspace location. Okay, so this is your workspace location. Let me just remove this one. We don't require it. Okay, so this is your workspace location. All your project files should be part of this particular project. You should not miss even anything, including the drivers. Okay, whatever is file you have used within the project should be part of this particular directory or folder. So now here, open your Git command prompt. So here Git bash here. So open this command prompt. So now we will see a new command prompt here. So again, in the command prompt, it will show you the current project directory. Current project. So currently you are there in your current project directory. So as a first step, you have just installed your Git repository, right? But you haven't created any local repository using Git software. Till now, we haven't created any local repository, but remote repository we created. So remote repository we created, and we also got this URL, right? But in the locally, we haven't created Git repository. So now we need to create that repository. So how to create your Git repository is, we have to execute one command. This is the first command. So the first command is git. The command is git init is a command. Git init. So this command will initialize a new Git repository locally. So let me execute this command. And where we have to execute this command? In your project directory. Okay, so here current project workspace, and here we have to execute git init. Git init. So this particular command will create or initiate a new local repository. Okay, now press enter key. Now it is saying initialized empty Git repository. So this is your local repository location, but still you can't see any files on this. On the same location, wherever your workspace is there, on the same folder, it is created one Git repository. Okay, so now we have initialized the repository. This is the first command. So once you have executed this command, what this command will do, it will create a new local empty repository. It will create an empty Git repository locally. Now we need to associate this local repository with our remote repository, because there should be certain connection should be there, right? So we have a local repository and also we have a remote repository, but there is no connection between these two as of now. So now I need to establish the connection. This is the first step. So how we can establish the connection? So now we need to execute one more command, git remote add origin. git remote add origin, and here we need to specify our remote URL, remote repository URL. This is very important. So these two steps you have to do only one time, first time. Okay, from the second round we don't do all this command because we haven't yet created your local repository and we haven't yet established any connection. So this is completely new stuff for us, right? So first time we have to execute these two commands. First, initialize the local repository, empty repository. Currently we don't have any files in that repository, and then we have to connect to our local repository to remote repository. So this is a command. So git, all the git commands will start with the git keyword. Okay, git remote add origin, and this is your remote URL, remote repository URL. So this command will establish the connection. Okay, these are the two commands first we have to run. So first command I already ran, so now I'm going to run the second command. So go to in the same bash shell, now copy the command. So press enter. So now it is established the connection. It will not show any confirmation message. It will just give the command prompt. That's it. Okay, now it is established the connection to the remote repository. So now we are ready to do all the commands, whatever we so far we discussed. So currently Workspace, all my project is there in your Workspace. From there, we have to first add to Git repository. So meanwhile, we have to first check the status, right? Before that, status is the first command, add, next commit, and then last command is a push. So these are the only 4 commands you need to remember every time. But the first round, you have to use init command and add origin command. So these are the first 2 commands you have to execute in the first round. From the second round, you will execute only these 4 commands every time. So whenever you do some change here, add a new file, delete a file, or modify existing file, or remove existing file, whatever changes you do in your workspace, every time you have to execute these 4 commands. Status, check the status, add them into staging area, and commit them into repository, local repository, and then push that into remote repository. Okay, these are the 4 commands you have to execute every time. Now, so 2 commands I have executed, right? So now let us see the status. Go to this and click on the git status. This is the command we have to execute every time. So what this command will show you is, it will show you what are all folders are ready to commit. So what it is saying, nothing added to commit, but untracked files are present. So what are the tracked files, untracked files? Untracked files are nothing but they are not still part of staging or Git repository. They are called untracked files. And tracked files means they are already part of your staging and Git repository. They are called as a tracked files. So currently these are all untracked files. So untracked files are present. Now what we have to do now? So untracked files mean they are showing in the red color. Okay, normally folders will appear like this, but inside this folder there are so many files also there, right? Under SRC also there are so many packages, page object, test cases, so many things are there. But first time it will show you very high level folders. Now, so these are the files which we need to add to your staging area. From there, we have to commit them to the Git repository. So first we have seen the status. Now it is listed out what are all files are ready to commit. Then first we need to add all of them into staging area. That is the first step. So the next command is, so we have executed git status. So git status. And once we see the status, we have to add them to your staging area. So how to add? Git, the command is add, git add -a. So -a representing all the files. And if you want to commit only specific file, we can specify the name there. So just git add, specify the name. Okay, so git status is shown all the folders and files. Now git add -a will send all the files to your staging area. Now let me execute this command. So what this command will do, it will send all the files into staging area. Still they are not part of Git repository. So currently we are sending the first stage. We are still in the first stage. Okay, we have seen the status. Now we are going to add these files to your staging area. So this is another command, git add -a. Now I'm running here. Git. So git add -uppercase a, right? Now press enter. Now it is going to add all the files in your staging area. It will show you some warnings and everything, but you don't need to consider. So it will go and pending everything. Now you can see these are all just warnings. Okay, warnings you don't need to consider. If there are errors, then only you should consider. So warnings you don't need to consider. So git add -a. So now this command will send all the files which are there in these folders sent to staging area, right? So now again, if you see the status, it will show you everything as a green. So everything as a green, but previously it is shown only folders, but this time it is showing each individual file within the folders, right? So now everything is turned into green. So that means all these changes are part of your staging area. Okay, all these changes are part of your staging area. So the status command will be used like this. It will show you what are all files are not at a part of your staging area and what are the files are newly created. So status command will be very, very useful. Now, so this particular command, add command, send all our files to your staging area. So now all my files are there in your staging area. Now, from there, we have to commit those changes to your local repository, Git repository. Okay, so how we can do this? The next command is commit command. The next command is commit. But before doing commit, we need to execute two important commands. Again, these commands are first time we have to execute. So before doing commit, but the next round we don't require these commands. Okay, first time. So before doing commit, okay, first time we need to execute these below commands only one time. So what are those commands? Git config --global user.name and give some name. Your name is also fine. And then next command is git config --global user.email, and whatever email you have used to log in your GitHub repository, remote repository, that same email ID you have to pass it here. So I'm giving my email ID here. So this is your email ID which I have used to log into the GitHub repository. Okay, so these are the two commands we have to execute first time when you do the commit. Okay, so let me execute this. Right, so paste it over here, then execute. Done. And the next command, one more time, another command, execute it. Only done. So once it is done, now we are ready to commit. So the next command is commit command. So we already added all the changes to part of staging area. From there, we have to commit all the changes to Git repository. That is our local repository. So now what I'm doing is, if you want to clear the screen, just type the clear. It will clear the screen. Okay. Now all my files are part of your staging area. From there, you have to send to Git repository. That is your local repository. Still, it is a local repository. So how to send them? The command is git commit -m. So whenever you are trying to commit some file, we must specify some comment, because this comment says what are all changes you have done on the files. Okay, so you have to write some comment that is mandatory required. And then, okay, so git the commit -m, and in the double quotations we have to give some command, some commit. That's it. This is the only command we have to execute. So what this command will do, this particular command will commit all your changes, or it will send all your files from workspace, from staging area to local Git repository. Now let me execute this command. The command is git commit -m and specify some comment. So sending, or like say first round of commit. Some message is required. Okay, first round of commit. So normally we will write comment, right? So like what are the files, new files we are sending, and what are the changes we have done. So those things will be part of your comments. You can write any much size. Okay, size is not matter. So now execute this command. So once you executed this command, now all your files will be part of your local repository. Okay, now all your files, now 131 files have been changed. That means these files will be added to your local repository, but still those files are there in your system, local system itself. All right, so now, so our files are there in Git repository now. So currently we are here. From there, we have to send them to GitHub repository. Now this is the final target, right? So here we have to execute push command. Now let me add. So currently in the remote repository, if you see, this is empty repository, right? If I click on this URL, we don't see any files. Currently it is empty repository. We don't have any files here. Now I'm going to send our Git files to GitHub repository, right? So how we can send is, let me just clear this one. After commit here, and one more command we have to execute, that is after committing, we have to execute one more command called, so git push -u origin master. This is a command we have to execute. Git push. So what this command will do, this command will send all the files from Git to GitHub repository. Okay, so local to remote. So Git is your local repository, and GitHub is your remote repository. So this is a command will do all the actions. Now let me run this command. So go to your bash and execute this command. Okay, once you press enter, it will ask you the username and password. It will ask you the username and password. Now you can see, so GitHub username it is asking. So normally I'll provide the email ID. So this is the email ID I've given at the time of sign up. So this is my email ID. So once you have provided this, press enter. So once you press enter, it will give you one small screen like this. And here you have to enter your password, GitHub repository password. So I'm entering my password here. Then click on OK button. Now it will start sending all your local files to your remote repository. So it will take few seconds of time, and it should complete 100%. So first time it will take some time because there are a lot of objects we have. So now this is sending, this particular command is sending all your files from Git repository. That is your local repository to GitHub repository. That is your central repository. Everybody will do the same thing in the team. Okay, so it is still trying to send. Yes, now it is done. So it is saying everything is done. So branch master, setup to track, remote branch, everything is done. So once it is done, now go to your remote repository and just refresh your page, or you can just click on this link. Okay, now we can see what are all changes you have done in the local system. Everything is appear here. See, so drivers, screenshots, log, and where our test cases are present here. So just go to this particular folder, page objects, test cases, test data, utilities. Under test cases, we already added few test cases. So everything will be part of your repository now. So Jenkins will take your project from here using this particular URL. So there is URL, right? So this is a GitHub URL. So this particular URL we have to configure in Jenkins. Okay, so based on this URL, Jenkins will automatically take this code from here and automation will be executed. So this is a process. So far we have seen one side, right? So from workspace to staging area, we have to use add command. From staging to Git repository, we have to use commit command. From Git repository to GitHub repository, we have to use push command. So before that, status command we can use anytime. Just status command will just show you the status. That's it. So there is no proper order. We need to we no need to follow the first status command. But add, commit, and push. These are the command we have to execute in proper order. Okay. Status, add, commit, and push. These are only 4 commands you guys should remember. Rest of the commands we do only first round. So first round I have executed init command, then established the connection to local and remote repository, and then I have seen the status, and then I have added all my files to staging area. And before doing commit, I have executed these 2 commands first time. Then I have committed my changes to local repository, and finally I have sent all my files from Git repository to remote repository. So till here we have done first round of execution. Okay, Now all my local files are part of your GitHub repository. All right, so now we'll see the next one. So suppose I'll show the second round. So here all my files are then Git repository, right? So let us see somebody else, they have checked in their code in the GitHub repository, but those changes are not part of our local repository. But how we'll get it? Okay, so that also we can do that. So how we will get everything from the GitHub repository? Let us go to GitHub repository. Okay, these are all my project files, right? Let us see somebody else is added a new test case under test cases folder. So let me just add here manually. So what I can do is I'm just creating new file manually here. Assume that this file is created by somebody else. Okay, somebody else is sent this file to the GitHub repository, because the same project you have to use in entire team. So all the team members will use the same repository URL. Remember this. You should not create separate URLs. Remember. And here, so TC underscore something else. Let's say edit underscore customer underscore 004. Okay, some other test case is created by somebody else. Let's say this is a Java file .java, right? So create a new file, and here I'm just writing some command. This is a new test case, and here this test will check editing a new customer. Okay, so this test case is done by somebody else. Think like this. So once we have added this, then so write some comment if you need, or else let's click on commit a new file, right? So once a new test case is added here, so let us say this particular test case is added by somebody else. So this is a by default comment will be there. If I don't provide any comment, by default it will add some comment here. Okay, so this file is not part of our local repositories now, right? Because this is directly added into the remote repository somebody else. But I want how I need to get this test case. So exactly this is a real situation will happen when you join your company. Suppose you have joined in a company, some project is already developed and there are some test cases already there. So somebody asks you to review those test cases, and they will just give you URL, GitHub repository URL. But what you need to do is you have to set up your Eclipse, then you have to use that URL to get all this code from GitHub repository to your local repository. Okay, this is the best practice for you. So already the project is there and somebody asks you to get the code from GitHub repository and review that code. So what you guys should do now, we need to have repository URL. You have to install Git software in your local system and configure your Eclipse, and then we have to pull these files. Now we need to execute one more command called pull, simple command. So let me run this code. And next command. So this is another one. Okay, second round I'm showing now. From GitHub repository to Git, and from there we can see everything. So once the files are there in the Git repository, so we can directly see those files in the workspace itself. Okay. Now here I have added a new file called edit customer.java file I have added newly here. Now I want to get that file into our local system. So how we will get it? Again, go to bash shell here, execute that command. So the command is git pull origin master. This is a command, git pull origin master. So here we don't require to give any usernames and password. So once we executed this command, so currently in your workspace under test cases, we don't have edit customer test case, right? We don't have edit customer test case in local system. Now after execution of this command, let us see. So I'm executing this particular command. So this particular command will pull the file. Now you can see clearly here. So there is something right here. This is a file. So one file is changed, 2 insertions. So this is a file we got it from the GitHub repository. Now you can just go to your workspace location and refresh your project, and then you will see a new file is created here. From where this file is coming from? Your GitHub repository. So your remote system, repository to your local repository. Okay. So this is the command we have to use. Git push -u origin master. So this is one round of execution. This is one round of bi-directional. We have seen both the directions, right? So from local to Git to GitHub, and from GitHub to Git and Git to, and here to here there is no specific command. So once the file is there in the Git repository, you can directly see that into Workspace. Okay, so now I'll show you one more round. Suppose I have already committed all my files which are part of your remote repository. Now today I have added a new test case here. Let us see. I'm going to add a new test case. Let us say tc underscore and search customer. Let us say search. Okay, search underscore customer underscore 005. Okay, this is the test case I'm going to create. For now, I'm not writing any code here. I'm just writing some message. So this is my search. This is my search customer test case. Let us assume I have just created one test case. Okay. Now this is a new file which I have added. Now I will also modify existing file. So let me just modify this file. So edit customer, we got it from GitHub repository, right? So these are the comments I have added. Now I will add something here. So this is the latest code. So this is another line, or let's say this is code added newly. So this is some code, something. So that means I'm just showing you modification. Okay. So one file we have added newly, and one file we have modified, right? One file we have added newly, one file we have modified. So two things we have done, two changes we have done. But these two changes are not part of your local repository or not part of your remote repository, right? So now what I will do is I want to do one more cycle here. So again, we need to see the status. As soon as you have done the status, it will show you what are all things yet to commit. So here I'll say git status. So when I execute this command, now it will show you. See now, this file is exactly modified, right? And these two files are to check in your local repository. So this is a file you are ready to send to your local repository. This is a new file we created, and this is the existing file we modified. All right. Now we need to add them to your staging area. That's the second stage. Once you see the status, we have to make sure they have added to your staging area. So how to add them to the staging area? The command is git. The command is git -add, git add -a, right? So this is the command, git add -a. So this command will commit these files into staging area. So let me click on this. Now it is added. So once it is added, now we need to send them to your Git repository. Still, that is your local repository. So here we no need to execute these commands again. So these commands we don't require to again. And before committing also, previously we have executed these two commands. But this round, from the second round, we don't require these commands. So first command I have executed only status command. Then I have executed add command. I'm directly executing commit command. Okay. So how to execute commit? Git commit -m, and in the comment we have to write. So added one file and modified. So we can also specify the name of the file, which file we have added. So added search customer file, search underscore customer file, and modified edit underscore customer file. So you can just add one comment like this. Now press enter. So now these three files, three changes. One file is modified and the other one is newly added. So now these changes are part of your local repository. Now I need to apply these changes to GitHub repository. Okay, now again from here to I'm sending the changes to GitHub repository. So now what is the command? So git remote add origin, git remote add origin, and here we need to just specify the, sorry, not this one, push command, right? So we have to use a push command. So git push, so git push -u origin master. So this is the command every time you have to execute. So this particular command will send all your local changes from Git to GitHub repository. Now press enter. Now it will ask you your email ID. So now provide your email ID. Okay. So once you have provided your email ID, press enter. Now again it will ask you the password. Just I'm giving my password here. Press OK. Now these changes will go and updated in your remote repository. Now again, if you go here and refresh your project, now we can see the changes. See now, added search customer file and modify edit customer file. If you go and see inside under test cases, see this. So which one is added newly? Search customer. And which is modified? Edit customer. If you open this, the new lines of code we can see here. Okay, so this is how we need to work with Git and GitHub repositories. This is again very important topic. Okay, so from the second row we have to use only this command: status, add, commit, and push. And if you want to pull something from the remote repository, use pull command. So I have given clearly this command. You have to follow the syntax. Okay, so first round we have to execute each and every command, but the second round onwards you have to use only this command. Every time when you do some change, check the status, add them into staging area, commit those changes in Git repository, and push those changes to the remote repository. That's it. So every time you have to execute the same commands for every round. All right, so this is how we need to work with the local repository and GitHub repository. So what is the ultimate goal here is, why we have to keep all our project in the GitHub repository? Because DevOps team Jenkins will read the code from this GitHub repository. Okay, now guys, are you so far clear, everyone? So please confirm on the chat window. Everyone. So you have to carefully understand and please focus. Okay, if you miss some point somewhere, it is very difficult to continue further. Okay, so the connection will go on. So please focus on the topic. So step by step I have executed in each and everything. So exactly should happen in the real environment. All right, so now why you have sent all this code to GitHub repository? Because the DevOps team Jenkins will read the code from GitHub repository, then execute our test cases, right? Now I'll show you how to execute our project from GitHub using Jenkins. Okay, this is the ultimate one. Now let's go back to the Jenkins. Yesterday we have done the same process we have to follow, but instead of giving your local paths, we have to configure the GitHub repository URL. Okay, now let me show you this. This is all Git commands I have given in the presentation itself. So please follow the same thing. And now we'll see how to run your GitHub project from Jenkins, right? Let me open my Jenkins, localhost 8080. Now I'm logging into my Jenkins, click on sign in. All right, so once you sign in, so let me create a new item, new project. And always, whenever you execute project from GitHub, you should always take the Maven project, okay? We don't use freestyle project. So Maven project you have to take. So, and before that, we have to give some name to this. So let me just give some name, NOP commerce. Yesterday we have given some name, right? No commerce. And I'll name it as a GitHub project, okay? GitHub project and version number 001, right? So I'm just giving this one. So NOP commerce underscore GitHub. From GitHub I'm taking this code, project V0. Just remember this name if you forget. Okay, this is a project name I have given, and take this Maven project and click on OK button. Right, so once we have done this, and here we need to do something. So in the previous session, what we have done, we have directly jumped here. We specified the location of your pom.xml, right? But this time what we have to do is, here we have to select Git here. Okay, we have to select this Git option. And here we need to provide the repository URL, remote repository URL. So what is our URL? I already copied at the beginning, right? So this is your GitHub repository URL. If I give this URL to you guys, you can also see my code. Just open this link and you can see my code in your repository. Okay, I'm sending to everyone. You can also see my code, everyone. So like you can share. So now this is a URL we have to use in your Jenkins. Now I'm copying my URL and don't do anything here. So just copy your URL. That's it. Now come down and here form.xml. This is the same, and we have to just give one command. So here everything is same. Then form.xml is same, and here just give command called clean install. In the build section, just give clean install. That is the only thing you have to do. So just provide your repository URL here, and don't consider, even though if you give something like this, leave it, and then save this. Okay, apply and save it. So now project is created, and before executing this project, make sure 2 configurations are very much required. So let's go to your back to dashboard and Maven manage Jenkins. Under manage Jenkins, and here global tools configuration. Okay, go to global tools configuration. Make sure your Maven and every paths are exactly right. So here Git is there, right? So anyway, JDK is already there. My JDK home directory is already there. It should be there, and Git path also we have to specify. So here I have git.exe, but you have to provide the complete path of your Git software. So how we will know that? So where the Git is installed. So under C drive program files, you can see Git here, under bin here. So this is the path you have to configure. Go to this PC, right click on properties. Now you have to add this path to advanced system settings. Now here you need to go to environment variables, go to path variable and edit, and here you have to add that. So probably I already have added this somewhere. If not, you should add that. Okay, yeah, here it is. So program files git bin. So we have to add this path, because Jenkins will check the Git software, the location, very, very important. Right, and wherever the Jenkins is running on that particular machine, Git should be installed. Remember this. Even though Jenkins is taking the code from the GitHub repository, it internally using Git software. Okay, so from wherever the Jenkins is running in that particular machine, Git should be installed. That will be anyway taken care by the DevOps team. You don't worry about this. Okay, so make sure this should be added. Now come back to your Jenkins, and here in the Jenkins, you have to provide the complete path, or you already added the path, right? So just specify the executable git.exe. Okay, and in your case, just give the complete path of our git.exe. Wherever my git.exe file is present in this location, right? I'm copying it here and provide the complete path. All right, so once we have done this, now just apply, save. And this is the configuration should be there. Now go back to your project. Where is your project? So go to your, click on the Jenkins. Now you will be in the dashboard. So which project you have to run now? This is the one newly created. So when I run this project, it will take the code from my GitHub repository. It is take the code from my GitHub repository. Now from where we have to execute, just click on this link, and from my own project dashboard, I'm going to execute this. Now click on build now. Right, so once we click on the build now, it will start executing your GitHub. Now click on this progress bar, just click on this, it will show you all the logs. Now let's wait for a few seconds. Now it is taking, see now here, this is referring your remote repository URL. Remote repository URL. So here we haven't configured any local paths. Only Git software we have to, but the project path, format.xml path, we haven't specified anywhere. So it will automatically take from the GitHub repository. So now it is running. It takes some time first time. So let it run. So this is ultimate goal. So every time you have to make sure this should be executed. Okay, now it is started executing our test cases from our project. So first time it will do certain kind of settings, and from the second round it will go very fast. So now this time it is executed our command, clean install command. All right, so now it is started. It should come test, and then it is started. So warnings, you can just ignore it. No issues with the warnings. Okay, now it is started, test cases. And again, it will be again seamless. So we can't see any UI, so everything will happen in the backend. We can just see only logs messages. Because it is reading the code from report repository, it is taking some time to execute. If everything is in a local system, it will be very faster, but it is taking from the remote system. Okay, so all right guys, so now we got the idea. So end-to-end picture. So from where we have started, where we have end. So this is the last topic in the framework. So this is all maintenance part. Here the test case started execution. Okay, so these are all continuous integration topics. I have given all the stuff in the presentation, right? Now we have done this. So we already discussed all these things. So first untracked file, add command, commit command, and push command. Same workflow we have to follow. And I have given each and every screenshot, guys. So you guys should follow exactly the same way. All right. Now that's it. Let me just close this. I'll just share this presentation. Okay, don't worry. I'll share this presentation with you guys. Okay, now it's still executed. I think still login is completed. Login is successful. Now it is executing, adding a new customer. It is little bit slower. Okay, so guys, this is the last topic for today. So with this, we have completed all the framework, how to implement, and also yesterday I have copied 2 more test cases in the drive. So adding or editing a customer and searching a customer by email ID, by first name, all these things. Please check that code and add those test cases also in your Eclipse and you can check it. All right, so this is the last topic. Okay, so the tomorrow we'll discuss all about FAQs, right, and our resumes and related to project information. What are the questions will be asked in interview, where we have to start preparation, what are all things we have to focus on at the time of preparation, and all the things we will discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay, so just hold on, Gurveer. I'll give the time to ask the questions. Just hold on. Let it complete this first. Okay, so if anybody having any issues to discuss, so please get ready and I'll give the chance to ask chance to discuss everybody. So I'll just give the control to you guys. I can share and you can ask all the questions. Okay. Now it is still providing the customer details. It is very, very, very slow. Okay, so finally it is completed. Just now 2, everything is done. So it should be successful and we'll get the build passed. Okay, build success. Okay, so finally success. Now again, if you see, go back to the project and now you can see here back to dashboard and now our test case is passed. So from GitHub, we have executed this project and passed. You can run the same. This is one-time configuration in Jenkins. Okay, suppose if you added new files, again you have modified them, sent to the GitHub repository. Again, you don't need to create the new file here. New project, you don't need to create. The same project we have to execute multiple times. It will automatically get the latest code from the GitHub repository every time. You don't create multiple projects every time. Okay, one project you have to create only one time. It will take care of getting the new code every time. All right. So that's all for today's session, guys. So now if you have any queries, you can ask me and just stop.